All right, I want to knock this out, okay? Because like I don't want like I was talking to Joe and Conan and stuff, Billy, and like one thing that me and Conan when Conan started the show, he said he wanted to do like he likes to do stuff that we keep it 100 is like the content that we like to talk about. He likes to talk about sports. He likes to talk about politics, wrestling, stuff, but in his lane. But the content that we do not like is when like guys are beefing and you got like you've had like this, let's call space spade here, you've had your issues with the dirt sheet guys for a while, right? And it's like now it's kind of like it's news and it's not the content that we like or want to talk about, right? But just like to get this story straight, because I just want to knock this out and be done with it and just move forward.
Okay.
Right? Okay, because we all saw the videos and stuff and thing. Like, I know you were very upset.
Are we recording? Is this on now?
Yeah, we're recording. We're recording.
Okay, cool.
Okay, right. So like, when I talked to you and you were very upset for a couple days, and I can understand, because you had your kid.
Your phone call was helpful.
Right.
I'll say.
Right. Right.
So, right.
Because like I'm saying, it's like as I say, but like honestly, it's like it's giving too much credit. It's giving like that community when you piss them off and stuff everything and give them reason to like attack you and stuff everything. It's like I don't want to. I don't care. Like they care about that more than I do, and more than Conan does and stuff everything. Right? And probably more than you do too, right?
Mm-hmm.
But just when like we saw it, everybody's like trying to say like, oh, when you saw the thing originally. The typical, the Ryan Satins and stuff. All the typical social justice warrior, dirt sheet guys that won't come on our show. It's everything they say. Billy, he's a misogynist, racist, homophobe. All this and stuff, everything, right? And like these people start coming after me. I can't believe he's pointing. I'm like, dude, like this guy's been on our show for a while now, and we have not heard like all this stuff you're talking about. We don't get. Because that's not on this platform. Anything Billy's done in the past,
it's not on any platform.
Right.
It's not on any platform. The difference. Let me just say what qualifies as homophobia and racism and transphobia has changed in the last 3 years. For me, what I did Brad Shepard's show yesterday, and I made a point where I said, okay, back in 2006, right, I was a big fan of MVP. I felt that MVP, the character, as a black wrestler in the WWE, he should have been given some kind of push where he won the Money in the Bank and he cashed in successfully, and he should have been a black world champion. I feel that he had the character and he should have received the push where he should have been an organic black world champion. For Kofi Kingston, I don't feel that was the case. For me to make these comments and say that the WWE are deliberately pushing certain black wrestlers into the forefront of the main event scene because they are black and because that is a fashionable thing to do in this modern time, that's not racist, but it is to these people.
Like I said, our environment here is shit, and people like me and Conan and stuff. If you want to audit everybody, bro, the entire WCW locker room from 1995 to 2000. It's like, come on, we used colorful language back then, and it's like like I said, it's different today. It's like it's weird for people like us to see these people that have like like everything's changed where you can't like if you say something like like when Conan does his joke, the hugs are back at the table, especially for cute transgenders. That's a freaking joke.
Dude,
you're gonna find people that are like going, oh well, this is they're trans. It's like come on, it's like it's like this is the way. It's like I'm not changing the way I talk completely, just because people are out there listening that are going to virtue signal and fake outrage and pretend that they're pissed off and stuff like that. All right, so let's continue.
Yeah, and
okay, so
just on that point, just even before this whole thing happened with SAP and whatever, I've been having a couple of run-ins with the sports gambling podcast, right, where they've been telling me, don't say this on the show, don't say that on the show. So since I've been here, after I was here for 2 weeks and I've got another like week and a half to go, so I'm here for a month, I genuinely sent this text right here to the guy who runs SGP, and I said, hey, Sean, apologies for any stress I've caused with any views I've put out on my podcast. At times, I thought you were turning super woke, but after being in the US for 2.5 weeks, I've realized that the US and the UK are now two very different places.
You have to watch what you say because there's like these like there's orcs from Lord of the Rings ready to come and go. They come at you if you say the wrong word. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I don't like, and I just try to tell these people like I don't want to beef with the dirt sheet guys. Like I'll tell you when we bring you on this show, I like it when you give scoops. I like it when we talk sports. Like I said, I was telling Conan's 3 favorite sports that he likes to talk about are football, UFC, and boxing. And those are the 3 things that are like right in your wheelhouse. And that's why we like to bring you on is because that's
important. And it's important to me because I heard Bin Hameen burying me and Brad and Sap all collectively. And he goes, these guys, he goes, Billy and Brad, like they keep falling out of people. They'll be at the bottom of the pile as far as in the wrestling industry. I don't care about the wrestling industry. The wrestling industry, even if I get to the top, it won't pay me what sports gambling is paying me. I want to be known as the sports gambling guy, and I'm the best in the world at what I do. There's nobody else that you have on this show that's the best in the world at something, right? And it's a statistical fact that you can put up against anybody that I'm the best at what I do. I'm a sports gambling guy who receives wrestling information from that job. That's it. I happen to receive from sports betting is how I started to receive wrestling information. We should never forget that. We should never forget what I am, number one. And this is just extra that comes along. I don't want to be a dirt sheet guy. I don't want to be spoken about as a dirt sheet guy. I don't want to be compared to the dirt sheet guys. It's important for me not to be this affiliated with wrestling because I don't want to.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why we bring you on. Is like when you tell me sometimes I get aggravated with you sometimes when you start talking about Meltzer and Sapp and those guys, and I'm like, bro, that's not. I don't. It's like because me and Conan, we don't really care about that stuff. If you got a big scoop, let's hear it. Got a couple scoops, like let's hear the big news. You got to say, but we like to get into the sports talk. It's like that's like ultimately like Conan. What's your take on this?
Look, really, Billy. Like I was telling right before you came on to Joe and Disco, I didn't know there was all this hate because there's a lot of people that do not like you, and they actually message me and they ask me like, "I can't believe you're friends with Billy. I used to respect you." It's like, well, now I kind of lost respect for you because I don't give a what you think about my relationship with somebody else. If you got beef with Billy, that's your. Don't try to. It isn't like, hey, let's all mob up on him or anybody else. He's always respectful with me. He's entertaining. He's credible. He's never said anything that I thought was out of line. There's some personal and social views that he has said that I don't agree with, but those are his views. Big deal. Everybody doesn't have to agree with me, and I don't have to agree with everybody else. That's not how it works. And so that's number one. Number two, I don't understand how if people don't like you, why they listen to you. I don't watch I don't like. I don't comment on I don't like, and so it's very weird for me, people that do. That's another thing. And then number 3 is you bring a lot of this upon yourself because you rile up the fans.
Yeah.
You have to be a little bit more humble, bro. And when you tell people I'm the best at what I do and I'm going to the United States, check. I'm going to Disneyland, check. Mm-hmm. I'm going to wherever you be at this, check.
I heard.
And then you ended it up with, and I make more money than you ever will, or something like that. Bro, a lot of people that are broke or they're bums or they're haters or they got no life or they don't already like you, bro, you just triggered them, Yeah. And they got nothing better to do than to come after you, and you're giving him the bait. Let me finish. Then the last thing is, I understand that you're mad that, they said in front of your son and all this, but you also got to understand, Billy, that if you're going to go out on a limb, which you have, to be
provocateur
or provocateur. Some guys are going to come at you like they've come at me, and you got to be able to stand your ground. Some guys want to fight. Are you going to fight everybody that you meet, or are you going to tell them, hey, look, this is how it is, whatever? But you're also, if you already know you're going to go to a place where there's a good chance that there's going to be some beef, why would you expose your kid to that? You shouldn't have even brought him. But other than that, we're cool, you don't have no heat with me, but, I just think that, and I also think you might have, and I have them. I definitely have them. So don't even think I'm trying to virtue signal. You might have mental health issues because I know I do, but go ahead.
Yeah. I heard everything you guys said. I was sent the bit, and it was sent to me as if like, "Oh, you K-What, your own guys are burying you." And I watched it, and this is my thoughts on that. I think it was recorded before me and Disco spoke. I'm not mad at Disco because I was in a really bad mood on Monday, and I spoke to Glyn, and it helped. So I think that was recorded before Glyn spoke to me, because he said some things on there that he then spoke to me afterwards and didn't realize. As for what you said in terms of where you said I would just go and smack the guy. Yeah, that's cool, but like every part of me wanted to do that. But the fact is that I did turn up with a kid. People are denying that he was there. Joe knew he was there. Joe didn't babysit one for me.
Well, I know he was there because you asked for 2 passes for you and your son.
Yeah.
Right. That's the thing. Joe weren't at that time. Joe wasn't babysitting for me. Bischoff wasn't babysitting for me. James Thornton wasn't babysitting for me. Nick Aldis wasn't babysitting for me. These people that I knew that were there, like they were not babysitting for me. Like he was right there in that situation. So it may have been different had I already been to SummerSlam, which is obviously the main thing. And it may have been different if the guy had actually come outside, because somewhere in my brain, which is crazy now when I think about it, I justified it to myself that if he does come outside, then I can't be arrested for this because he's agreed to fight. So that's why on the video I'm saying, come outside, come outside, come outside. But there's no way that I could do anything in that situation with the kid right there. And also, I was set up. I was being filmed immediately. When he confronted me, a guy called Brian Zane was already pointing the camera. So it's a no-win situation. I punch him out. I'm arrested. They got it on camera. Like I go to jail. My kid gets put wherever for 48 hours until I'm out, whatever. And then I don't come back to the US. And then I also have problems with the sports gambling podcast because they pay me US money. So it was a big problem either way. But I felt like I picked the middle ground. So I didn't. What I should have done, the most sensible option was to say, "F you, I'm with my kid," and walk off. I didn't do that. I was stubborn enough to stand there and have the argument that everybody saw. So that I felt like was the middle ground, especially when the guy wasn't coming outside. So after that, obviously, then when I was calm, I was moved away. I went to SummerSlam. I was fine. The next day, I see all these idiots putting out their interpretation of it, or at least Saps guys turning around and saying, "Oh, you out," and all this kind of stuff. Then I start to get frustrated. Then, like I even tell Glyn straight up, all I want to do now is go back to England, leave my kid there, fly back and fight the guy. I'm going that insane on Sunday until I spoke to Glyn. That was legitimately all I wanted to do. But that's the thing. And with the tweet that you saw put out, that was because there's some guy that I used to work with on a podcast called The Steel Gauge putting out. He goes, "Oh, Billy's broke. He's broke. His mum pays for all his tickets because she works for an airline." I
saw that. He said you hang out in the hotels and stalk the wrestlers, and I'm going like, bro, why don't you tweet that he does that with his kid? Like, it's like it's like you're like when Mark hanging out in the hotels looking for autographs, but I'm going like, yo, what's with your kid? It's like so like that's what yeah.
But that's the thing. I don't need to do that because any autographs that I've had before have been organized for me. The only one that my like the guys I get information from, the only one I've never been able to get. So this time I stayed in a different hotel because Brock Lesnar doesn't speak to anyone. So we stayed in Brock's hotel because my kid wanted Brock and he got Brock. And let me tell you a story. Like, let me just keep it a little bit lighter for 1 second and just make you guys laugh a bit because it's getting very serious. So my son met Brock Lesnar the night before, right? And Brock Lesnar says that he doesn't. Brock Lesnar's security says he doesn't do any photos. So my son Joe already knows the story. I said it to him. So Brock does the autograph for my son. Doesn't do it for any of the adults. This one guy that was waiting for him, he then goes and books the room at the JW Marriott. Right. So we come down in the morning. We go for breakfast. We then see the guy in the lobby. Then Brock Lesnar obviously comes down for breakfast. The guy follows Brock down, gets a table next to Brock Lesnar. As Brock Lesnar's about to order, the guy really loudly says, I'm gonna get his breakfast. I'm gonna pay for that. Brock calls him over and he says, "What's your name?" And he goes, "Whatever his name was." We couldn't hear. I can't remember even. And he goes, "Thank you for that. Thank you for that gesture." He goes, "Can I get a photo?" He goes, "Maybe when we're done." So Brock and his security, they order a huge breakfast. Like I know he ordered something with 10, because I asked the guy afterwards. He had 10 egg whites. Austin asked him, what does Brock eat? It was 10 egg whites, a steak, and 1 pancake, which is what Brock had. I don't know what the other guy had, but it was over $100. So as Brock's getting up to leave, the fan then, who's bought the breakfast and bought the hotel room, he's $620 out at this point. I know for a fact. He goes up to Brock, goes, "Can I get that photo now?" The security guy goes, "No, sorry, Brock's not going to be there any photos." He goes, "Can I get an autograph?" He goes, "No, we appreciate the gesture, but we're not going to be doing anything today."
The guy spent $620.
Got
Oh,
nothing.
geez.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So yeah, and I didn't, and also like I didn't get to meet Brock, even though I was 2 feet away from him. I got a Brock tattoo. I didn't get to meet him. The 2 other guys didn't meet him. He literally just did one thing for the kid, no photos either, and just walked off. So yeah, I mean that's the thing. If when my kid wants to meet a particular piece of talent, like when we met Roman. That was organised by someone that said, "Hey, Roman's going to be in the gym. He's going to get in at this time, and then he's going to go to the gym, whatever." So, like, yeah, I don't hang around lobbies and like that. If I was staying in their hotels, then that would mean I need even more money than I would spend, because their hotels are the most expensive. And also, I'm currently sitting here in Orlando, which has nothing to do with wrestling. So, this guy that buried me with that tweet. Conan probably wasn't aware of it. That tweet that I put out was in response to that tweet. But you're right. Like, it shouldn't.
Well, here's the problem.
Yeah.
I'm not aware of it, and so is nobody else.
Right.
So you learn from your mistakes. When I first got on Twitter, if you even looked at me sideways, I buried the out of you.
I remember.
Yeah.
I remember.
Oh yeah, Conan was one of the worst. Yeah, you were. I was surprised you didn't get kicked off Twitter a bunch. Yeah,
I spent literally 4 hours a day just roasting people, and then I got tired of it. I was like, "Who the are these people? Why am I being riled up? Why am I wasting my time on this?
Right.
And just to entertain nobodies, and to entertain myself sometimes too, just to pop. Sometimes I do to pop myself, but it was just a waste of time, and it still is. That's why I don't really interact that much with. I just tell them to go themselves or eat a and that usually ends the conversation.
The other thing that frustrated me over the weekend as well, like I spoke to Glenn about also, and Joe, was the fact that like they obviously these Starrcast PR people, which
Joe was so mad that he was like, "I refuse to record with Billi Bhatti from here on in."
I was,
like,
and here's the thing, because when we got the tickets and the passes, so every time there was like a Billy story, like Billy and Sapper fighting, Billy and Cross had words, Billy sneaking backstage at Flair, I kept getting texts like, "You got to get your control of this guy. This is on you. This is on you." And I'm like, I don't, like. So, and I was under the impression that I was in.
Because they're not gonna talk to me and Conan like they talk to you.
Of course,
Joe.
not. Yeah, of course.
It's like they're very completely different. The conversations that I have with those guys are completely different than the way they talk to you.
I got the piss
right.
side.
So it's like
and that's the other thing, and that's why as I said, like I've addressed, like I was pissed off with Glenn, but you spoke to me. I wasn't as pissed off with Conan because there was obviously a lot of stuff he didn't know. I was a little bit pissed off with Joe with that from that clip, because I spoke to Joe on Sunday. Like Joe's met me and he knows, like I'm not, I didn't start that thing with Sap at all. Like he came up to me, explained the whole thing to him. And also I didn't steal any media pass or anything. There were people coming up to me constantly going, "We love you and keep you 100. People like don't ever change," and all this kind of stuff. And that's the issue. Like suddenly I have some personality transplant and I start doing different content and becoming like Billy Light, then everything that people like and gravitate to is going to change. So like I got a lot of people coming up to me, even the people from Starrcast. I got my passes upgraded at the door. Like when I came in to collect the passes that had been sorted out for me through Joe, which were in the upper bowl, as Joe needs to be true, some guy with grey hair, who I don't remember his name, but he worked for the press team, come over and goes, "Hey Billy," he goes, "I love you on the show." He goes, "Oh, you not got a media pass?" So I was like, "Yeah, I got these like tickets." He goes, No, you don't want to sit there. He goes, "Let me give you a proper pass, and let me give you these. These get you right in front of the hard cam." He changed my pass because he listens to the show.
Right.
So these,
but that's to me. I know that, but that's all like nerdy stuff.
But let me ask you a question. This is the most important part of all, Billy. What do you take away from this? What have you learned from this?
What have I learned? It's difficult because I'm put off really even bothering going to these things now. But at the same time, when you ask the question, why did you go? I went because look.
No, I know why you went. That's not what I said. Why did you go? I said you went knowing that there's a good chance you're going to get confronted because and number two, that your kid was going to be exposed to this. Because some people, like, I would not go off in front of somebody with his kid was there just because that's just me. A lot of people, but a lot of people don't think like me. A lot of people don't give a if the kid is there or not. They're like, collateral damage. Your kid's here. You brought him. He's going to hear it. That's on you.
I believe that's what made it the safe space, because I've seen Sean Ross Sapp on 3 occasions prior to this occasion, and he never came anywhere near me. Ryan Satin saw me sitting down at a hotel and power walked his way to an elevator when I got up and started walking after him. So, like, you know, there's the opportunity was there to do what happened because the kid was there. I guarantee you, if he hadn't have been, there would have been no confrontation at all. It was a safe thing to do. But yeah, I mean, in terms of, so I saw you say, why did he go? Why did he put himself in this situation? There's a lot of people there that I knew. My son wanted to go and meet certain people, Flair, Bret Hart. I didn't let him meet Mick Foley because I don't like Mick Foley right now. I feel it's hypocritical to go and allow my son to meet Mick Foley when I completely disagree with everything that Mick Foley tweets and what he's become. So I did not allow my son to meet Mick Foley, but I did allow him to meet.
But isn't that kind of the same thing they're doing to you? You know, now you're doing the same thing to your son because you disagree with what Mick Foley says. You won't let him get an autograph with him. But yet, when people disagree with you,
when my son can pay for his own autographs, he can do what he wants. But I'm not giving any money to.
So you mean if your son were to tell you, Dad, I feel like a woman, you wouldn't give him any.
Yeah, so I mean, and as I said, there was a lot of people I wanted to go out there and speak to. I was talking to Nick Aldis for a while. That was an interesting conversation. I'm not going to talk about it here because it's private. And as for that Cross thing, the Cross thing is funny to me because I knew what I put out with Cross, and if I'm this like coward pussy, like, you know, who doesn't want to front up to anything, and as you said, I'm one of these dirt sheet guys, and as you guys said, what do you expect is going to happen when 2 dirt sheet guys come together? Nothing. Well, I did a story about Cross, and I went up to Cross. Cross didn't like send somebody to come over to me. I introduced myself and I owned that story. I own that situation, and he didn't like chew me out or have a shout at me or anything like that. Yeah, it was a frank conversation. The main thing of it was, and I will take this on board, actually, I think the main thing is from the conversation with Cross. Cross turned around and said straight up, he goes, yeah, I understand you get things, and I understand a lot of it's right, but he goes, you need to like look at your stories and understand like that we're human beings, and this sometimes going to really hurt people's feelings. Like, you go, she has feelings, I have feelings, and yeah, I say, like, from that side of things, like, it's the first time I've really done a story and come across the real human behind it. So I think when it's something that in turn could essentially bury someone in a negative way, I will take a second look at those stories and see if there's any point or any benefit to us doing them or not. So I think that was the main learning point. But I don't know really what to learn from the fact that I walked into a convention and some guy decided to confront me and my kid. I think a lot of the positives are being missed, where I met like, 50, 60 listeners from the show. I did photographs with 15, 20 guys. Some of our listeners are cool as like I learned that they're not fat, smelly, obese, broke people. I spoke to a guy called Clint who's got like an amazing job. Like, so for me, the experience is different to how you may think it is, because I actually learned that some people, there's people that, there are losers there. There are people who had had suitcases full of action figures and were meeting every single wrestler and whatnot. There were those stereotypical fans. But actually, our listeners and everybody that came up to me, they seemed fine. Like, they seemed cool. They were
here's my point. Here's my point,
I
Billy.
I even hung out with a couple of guys who listened to our show.
Here's my point. Our fans are great. We have a great fan base, and they support everything we do. And I think because of the nature and discourse and level of intelligence that we try to take our conversations to, that's reflective of the crowd that we have. And it's everything from nerds to whatever, we love them all. My only thing is that, bro, and this is the last thing I'm going to say about this, because we got other more important things to talk about, is you just got to remember that when you put negative out there, it's going to come back to bite you in the ass. When you put out there and you rile people up, they're going to react, and is it worth it? That's it. Is it worth all this you're going through, all the that you went through? Is it really worth it? And if it isn't, then quit doing it. And if it is, then keep doing it, and it's going to continue to get worse.
Yeah. The final thing I'll say, coming back to the things you guys said, and again, I think there's a lack of understanding there. I'm going to get Twitter accounts deleted constantly, whatever I say. There's a thing called ban evading, and as I had a verified account that's already banned, as soon as anybody can provide any evidence that Billi Bhatti, who was banned in 2017, is linked to any account, it's automatically banned. On this occasion, I said a lot of things to have it deliberately banned. The reason being is because it was gaining about 300 followers a day, all negative. Under every single post, all negative. Had I moved forward with that account and posted any kind of story about the WWE or whatever, or any kind of opinion, it would have just been flooded by mutual followers. Sean Ross Sapp. Yeah. So it was an absolutely pointless account to have. So I decided, let's go out with a bang and let's insult everybody and say what I want to say. So, I mean, I knew with the words and the language I was using that account was going to be deleted. But even if I keep it clean, squeaky clean cut, unless it's completely under a different name, like the lock betting account, I don't log into it, and it's not my address, it's not my email, and it's not my phone number. So that's why that account is the most protected Twitter account that there is, and it's impossible really to link it to me, because Lock Betting is a company, and I always say I work for that company even though it's mine. So it's different. But this ban evading thing, if you show in any way that I'm linked to it, until Elon Musk gets his hands on this thing, if he ever does, or somebody else takes over, these rules are always going to mean I'm just automatically going to be banned, because I was banned once, and that's for life on Twitter. That's the real life for life.
Let me just, I know we spent forever, and let's just give me 90 seconds to say this. Billy, the only thing you got to understand about me is when I started with Keeping It 100, it was growing, and it's grown and grown and grown, and we have, the YouTube going, we have the Patreon going, we have a great deal with Spreaker right now. We might be moving to somewhere else. It's all built up for everyone that's put time in. So when people are texting me and saying, Billy's on video calling Sean Ross Sapp a homophobic slur, my brain goes, if someone puts that video out and it goes on whatever dirt sheet and it says K100's Billi Bhatti calling a guy this in public, I'm worried someone's going to take that and send it to one of our sponsors or Spreaker. That's one. Two, the other thing was when I was getting all the heat from Conrad's people on his side of things, that's my other side of gigs. So, of course, if I'm feeling like threatened, like, oh, these guys are me, who knows what's going to happen? I could lose these gigs. I could lose this money. It's nothing personal. Like you said, we met. Thought Austin was great. Austin was real funny, I was just strictly looking at business, you know what I mean? And I was like, if this could harm the show, then that concerns me. That's all.
Yeah. And ultimately, let me say one thing, because ultimately the gist of this is, I keep saying this all the time. May he who is without sin cast the first stone. The people that attack us, I always say, look in the mirror. Because you can everything they accuse us of. Oh, this guy. I go look at my timeline and look at your community, look at your people, look at what they say. Like, nobody's perfect here. Everybody's, we're attacked. We say things, and it's just like, bro, like that's just it. Our community and the rest of the Dirt Sheet Guys communities, they're two completely different audiences. And our audience does not go at their audience and say this, this, but their audience comes at us. Instead of just saying, just don't listen to us. But that's all we want. If you don't like us, don't listen. You have freedom not to listen to us. Don't try to try to tell people don't listen to us. Just don't listen to us. It's that simple. We have fans. We have a show. We keep it real, and it's like we're kind of brave in that we'll say things that nobody else is willing to say sometimes and stuff. And if that pisses people off, it's like, hey, it's not your cup of tea. Just don't listen.
Yo, what up? This is Conan, and I host Keeping It 100. My co-host, Disco Inferno, unfortunately.
Well, I'd say you're my co-host.
Listen, every Thursday here on Spreaker, we talk pro wrestling, sports, movies, music, TV, pop culture, and some politics. It's everything the rest of the pro wrestling podcasts are not.
Tune in to hear myself, the superior one, educate and inform.
Tune in to hear me bury Disco.
That's very disrespectful.
Join us every Thursday on Spreaker and keep it 100. Boom!